Have you ever been in this situation? You're watching an English movie without subtitles, and you understand everything perfectly. You're nodding along, laughing at the jokes, following every word. But then someone asks you a question in English, and suddenly, your mind goes blank. The words just won't come out. Or maybe you're reading English articles online with no problem. You understand every sentence, every paragraph. But when you try to have a conversation, it feels like your brain has completely frozen. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Millions of English learners around the world face this exact problem. They can understand English perfectly fine, but when it's time to speak, they struggle. Their vocabulary disappears, their grammar falls apart, and they end up feeling frustrated and embarrassed. Today, we're going to dive deep into why this happens, and more importantly, how to fix it. By the end of this video, you'll understand the science behind this phenomenon, and you'll have a clear action plan to transform your passive English knowledge into active speaking ability. Before we start, if you enjoy helpful videos like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the new lessons we're preparing for you. Alright, let's get started. First, let's understand what's actually happening in your brain. When it comes to language learning, there are two completely different types of knowledge: passive knowledge and active knowledge. Passive knowledge is your ability to recognize and understand language when you see or hear it. When you're reading a book or watching a video, you're using passive knowledge. The information is coming to you, and your brain just needs to recognize it and process the meaning. Active knowledge, on the other hand, is your ability to produce language yourself. When you're speaking or writing, you need to actively recall words, construct sentences, and express your thoughts in real time. This requires a completely different set of mental processes. Here's the important part. Passive knowledge is much easier to develop than active knowledge. When you're listening or reading, you have time to think. You can replay a sentence. You can guess meaning from context. But when you're speaking, you need to produce language instantly, under pressure, often while someone is waiting for your response. Think of your brain like a warehouse. Your passive vocabulary is like items that are stored somewhere in that warehouse. You know they're there. If someone shows you a product and asks, "Do you have this?" You can say, "Yes, I recognize it. It's somewhere in the back." But your active vocabulary, that's the items on the front shelf, organized, labeled, ready to grab at a moment's notice. These are the words and phrases you can access immediately without thinking. The problem most learners have is that they've filled their warehouse with tons of English knowledge, but it's all scattered in the back. Nothing is organized on the front shelf where they can actually use it. There's another crucial factor: processing speed. When you're listening to English, native speakers talk at around 150 to 180 words per minute. That sounds fast, but your brain has evolved to process incoming language very efficiently. You can actually understand speech even faster than that. But speaking requires you to do multiple things simultaneously. You need to think of what you want to say, find the right words in your mental dictionary, organize those words with correct grammar, pronounce them clearly, monitor yourself to make sure you're making sense, pay attention to the other person's reactions, adjust your message if needed. All of this happens in real time, often while you're nervous or under pressure. No wonder it feels so much harder than just understanding. And let's not forget the emotional component. When you're listening or reading, there's no pressure. Nobody is judging you. You can take your time. You can rewind or reread. But speaking is vulnerable. You're exposing yourself to judgment. You're afraid of making mistakes, of sounding stupid, of not being understood. This fear creates mental blocks that make it even harder to access the knowledge you have. Many learners develop what psychologists call speaking anxiety. Even if they know the words, the anxiety blocks their ability to retrieve them. It's like taking a test where you know the answers, but your mind goes blank because you're so nervous. Finally, there's a simple but often overlooked reason. You've been practicing the wrong skill. Most English learners spend hundreds of hours listening and reading. They watch YouTube videos, they read articles, they listen to podcasts. All of this is great for passive knowledge, but how much time do they spend actually speaking? For most people, almost none. Maybe they speak English a few minutes per week, if that. And here's the truth. You can't get good at speaking by only listening. It's like trying to learn to swim by watching swimming videos. At some point, you have to get in the water. Now that we understand the problem, let's talk about the solution. I'm going to give you a complete action plan to transform your passive English into active speaking ability. The first step is to create that front shelf in your mental warehouse. You need a core set of words and phrases that you can access instantly without thinking. Here's how to do it. Start with the most common words. In English, just 1,000 words make up about 80% of everyday conversation. Focus on mastering these first. Don't try to learn fancy vocabulary yet. Master the basics so well that they become automatic. Use spaced repetition. This is a proven learning technique where you review words at increasing intervals. But here's the key. Don't just review the words passively. When you review a word, force yourself to use it in a sentence out loud. Say it, speak it, make it active. Create personal example sentences. Instead of just memorizing definitions, create sentences that are relevant to your life. If you're learning the word commute, don't just memorize commute means to travel to work. Instead, create a personal sentence. I commute to work by train every morning. This makes the word memorable and gives you a ready-made phrase you can actually use. Shadowing is one of the most powerful techniques for developing active speaking skills. Here's how it works. Find audio or video content in English at your level. It could be a podcast, a YouTube video, or even dialogues from a textbook. The important thing is that you can understand most of it. Play a sentence, pause, and then repeat exactly what you heard. Try to copy everything. The pronunciation, the intonation, the rhythm, even the emotional tone. Don't just say the words. Become the speaker. Do this for 15 to 20 minutes every day. At first, it will feel awkward and difficult. That's normal. But after a few weeks, something magical happens. You'll notice that English phrases start to flow more naturally. The grammar patterns become automatic. Your pronunciation improves. Why does shadowing work so well? Because it trains your mouth muscles, your brain's language processing center, and your pronunciation all at the same time. It bridges the gap between passive and active knowledge. One of the biggest mistakes learners make is translating in their head. They think in their native language, then try to translate to English before speaking. This is slow, inefficient, and leads to unnatural sounding English. Instead, you need to start thinking directly in English. I know this sounds difficult, but it's actually simpler than you think. Start small. Don't try to think complex thoughts in English. Instead, narrate simple things you're doing throughout the day. I'm making coffee. The water is boiling. I'm pouring it into the cup. It smells good. Do this while you're cooking, cleaning, walking, or doing any daily activity. Just describe what you see and what you're doing. Keep it simple. Use present continuous tense. At first, you'll struggle to find words. That's okay. When you can't think of a word, look it up, then use it several times in the next few days. Gradually, your ability to think in English will expand. This technique is incredibly powerful because it removes the translation step. It makes English feel more natural and automatic. Here's a technique most learners avoid: but it's one of the most effective. Record yourself speaking English, then listen to the recording. Why do people avoid this? Because it's uncomfortable. Nobody likes hearing their own voice, and when you're speaking a foreign language, it feels even worse. But this discomfort is exactly why it works. Here's what to do. Choose a topic, any topic. Set a timer for 2 minutes. Hit record on your phone and just talk about that topic. Don't stop, don't restart, just keep talking even if you make mistakes. Then, listen to the recording. Don't judge yourself harshly. Instead, notice. Which words or phrases you struggled to say? Where you paused or hesitated? Any grammar mistakes you made? Parts where your pronunciation was unclear? Write these down. These are your specific areas to improve. Then, record yourself again on the same topic, but this time, try to fix those issues. Do this exercise 3 to 4 times per week. Over time, you'll notice your fluency improving dramatically. You'll hesitate less, speak more smoothly, and make fewer mistakes. At some point, you need to stop practicing alone and start having real conversations. I know this is scary, but it's absolutely essential. The good news is that in today's world, finding English conversation partners is easier than ever. Here are some options. Language exchange apps connect you with native English speakers who want to learn your language. You help them, they help you. It's free and low pressure. Online tutoring platforms let you book inexpensive conversation sessions with English teachers. Even 30 minutes per week can make a huge difference. Join English conversation groups on social media. Many cities have groups that meet regularly, and there are also online groups you can join from anywhere. When you're having conversations, focus on communication, not perfection. The goal is to express your ideas, even if you make mistakes. Native speakers are usually patient and happy to help. Here's a crucial tip. After each conversation, write down 5 new words or phrases you learned or wanted to say but couldn't. Add these to your active vocabulary list and practice using them. Finally, here's the mindset shift that will change everything. Stop waiting until your English is perfect before you speak. Many learners fall into this trap. They think, I'll start speaking when my English is better. I'll start having conversations when I know more vocabulary. I'll speak up in class when I'm more confident. But here's the truth. You will never feel completely ready. There will always be words you don't know, grammar you're unsure about, pronunciation you want to improve. The only way to get better at speaking is to speak, even when it's imperfect, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you make mistakes. Think about children learning their first language. They make mistakes constantly. They say I goed instead of I went. They mix up words. Their pronunciation is unclear, but they don't stop talking. They keep trying, and that's how they learn. You need to give yourself the same permission to be imperfect. Embrace mistakes as part of the learning process. Every mistake is a lesson. Every awkward sentence is progress. Let's recap everything we've covered today. You can understand English but can't speak it, because understanding and speaking are completely different skills. Understanding is passive, speaking is active. Most learners spend all their time developing passive knowledge through listening and reading, but almost no time developing active speaking skills. To fix this, you need to build a core active vocabulary using spaced repetition and personal examples. Practice shadowing native speakers to develop fluency and natural pronunciation. Start thinking in English with simple narration of your daily activities. Record yourself speaking and analyze your progress. Have real conversations with native speakers or other learners. Use the monologue technique to practice extended speaking alone. Most importantly, start speaking now, even if it's imperfect. Remember, the gap between understanding and speaking is normal. Every successful English speaker has gone through this. The difference is that they didn't let it stop them. They kept practicing, kept speaking, kept pushing through the discomfort. You have all the knowledge you need already inside your head. Now it's time to bring it out. Start today. Choose one technique from this video and commit to doing it every day for the next week. Then add another technique the following week. Speaking English fluently isn't about learning more grammar or memorizing more vocabulary. It's about activating the knowledge you already have. It's about practice, consistency, and courage. You've got this. Your English speaking journey starts now. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to English Flow for more practical English learning tips. Leave a comment below telling me which technique you're going to try first. And remember, every conversation starts with a single word. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.